Alrighty, g'day YouTube. Hope you are well. I thought I'd just jump on live at the moment to say hello to everyone, give you guys an update as to what's going on with the channel, do some Q&A whilst we're here. I'm sitting here in the studio, just been actually on the phone to none other than Monster Michael Todd. So I'm going to be bringing you some really good content coming up very, very soon. Of course, I've got my big trip. I'm getting ready. I've got my big trip heading over to Moldova in literally, what is it, 24 hours. This time, 24 hours time, I will be getting on an airplane heading for Moldova. So that is pretty crazy. G'day, Dang Joss, Lester Allergy, Sean Graham. Thanks for tuning in and saying g'day, guys. Loving the show. Fantastic. Thank you so much. But hey, yeah, so the purpose of this live was virtually just for me to get on there and say hello to you guys and also to get a bit of a Q&A going. I'd like to do a bit of a Q&A just to answer some of your questions about the show, about what's going on, with anything you want to talk about. I am here to answer your questions. But first and foremost, I've got to put a bit of an apology out there in advance. Okay, reason I got to put an apology out there in advance is I'm leaving for Moldova this time tomorrow. Now I have just been recording the season two finale with of course the WAL 406 review being the main focus of that show. We've also got guests on there, Michael Todd and Travis Bagent. Now I've just recorded with Michael Todd. Travis Bagent, however, hasn't been able to hasn't worked out for him this morning, so I have to literally jump on tomorrow morning before I jump on a flight, and I'll be then recording with Travis. So what that means is where I promised you guys I'm going to have this show out by Monday, I'm going to have to take that back. It's going to be a little bit later than that. A little bit later than that. I will get it done. Trust me, I will get it done as soon as I can. I will edit this thing whilst I am on the plane heading over to Moldova. And as soon as I land in Moldova, I will be uploading it. So I apologize in advance. I'm really sorry for everyone who's holding me to account saying that it's going to be out by Monday. Anyway, so yeah, what questions have we got going on here? I can see a bunch of people watching. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in. Let's have a look. Have we got any questions? TJ Bennett, WAL isn't for arm wrestlers anymore. TJ, I get it. A lot of people have been a little bit sad about what's happening with the WAL in terms of its theatrics. But look, I think it's a good thing. I think what the approach that the WAL has been taking has been all about growing the entertaining value of the sport. And don't get me wrong, they're still the most badass arm wrestlers on the planet. I don't think it's an act at all. I think it's definitely fought for hard. And I think Devon Lout and Michael Todd, as an example of that, those guys push themselves to the absolute limit to get that done. So I'm a big fan of the WAL. I'm a big fan of arm wrestling in general. Obviously, whether it's strict WAF rules, I love that as well, like in the PAL or the WAL, getting everything going. With the theatrics of it and letting the arm wrestlers a bit more leniency in the way that they actually can bend the rules a bit. I don't know. I'm pretty easy on it. So, TJ, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, TJ, but it's all good. What else we got? Bajent and Oleg is going to be more hard hitting than Todd and Devon. Yes. Now, Bajent and Oleg, will Bajent and Oleg happen? That's still a mystery at this stage. So Moldova is literally only a few days away. There's a bunch of people heading over to Moldova. Travis Bagent is of course one of them. I'm going to be one of them. I think Justin Bishop's another one that's going to be there competing. I think even people like I think even Mike Aiello is going to be there competing. But there's the kind of the way that the Moldova tournament is being shaped up. Of course, it is being done by Cobra Rhodes. Is from my understanding is that they're going to have a bunch of weight classes as per normal. But then they're going to have an overalls tournament, and there's going to be crowned an overall champion at some stage. There's going to be crowned a champion, and that champion will then have the ability to kind of be the title holder, and that person will then take on the previous champion who's kind of waiting off to the side. So they want this to, I think, pretty sure Cobra wants this, and the Moldovan arm wrestling people want this to be a regular thing in terms of how many people are actually going to be competing. They want to build it up. It's got great prize money, of course, but they want to have a big pinnacle title match at the end. So there's a very good chance, given the caliber of Oleg Zok. Now, I don't personally know if Oleg Zok is going to be there, But I do know that Oleg Zok lives only like 50 kilometers or something away from where this tournament's going to be held. So, given that there's looking like there's going to be solid prize money there, I would imagine that he'd be turning up, and naturally Travis is going to be there. So we'll see what happens, but there is the possibility that those guys will meet in the very, very near future. And I think that, yeah, that match, Travis Bajent left hand against Oleg Zok left hand, is a match that is absolutely mouth-watering, and I think it would be amazing if everyone was to be able to make that happen. Because I don't know, my gut feel on that is like I have no doubt that Oleg Zok has a better hand than Travis in terms of his pronation ability. I've had the luck of actually gripping up with Oleg at the first round of WAF World Championships in 2015. My left hand drew Oleg Zok as my opening round, so I got to experience what that was like to actually grip him, and the man's hand is from when he curled up like that, the width from the back of his hand to his thumb is enormous, and Travis is going to have to deal with that. But Travis is the master of manipulation; he's the master of intimidation. So I think that it'd be very fascinating to watch the way that they set up, because my guess is that Travis would be able to intimidate Oleg a little bit. I think he'd be able to actually just get everything happening where Oleg feels like he's kind of being given the raw deal from the refs. Travis is a master of winning the refs, whether it's getting a loose strap, whether it's starting early, whether it's getting extra height in the hand and the webbing. Travis is the man for doing that. So it's hard to go past. Look, if it was a fair start, Oleg, I would be certain, but it's hard to go past Travis in the sense that I think that he could most definitely probably get the job done when it comes to actually getting the match over the line. All right, man. There have been heaps of questions. Let's see what else there's been. Thank you, Sean Graham, saying love the show. Bryce, hello. Who else we got? 401 finest. Keep up the good work, brother from Rhode Island, USA. Thank you very much. Lots of people mentioning Moldova. Fitness, health, lifestyle, asking me how much do I bench. Oh, good question. Fitness, health, lifestyle, man. The last time I bench pressed was about. Last time I bench pressed was when I was in the military back in 2010, and I could bench press like 140 kilos back then. Nowadays, I have no idea. I think I'd be lucky to bench 100. I really don't even bench, but all good. Okay. Opinion on the King's move, holding back arm wrestling becoming more mainstream. Interesting question. Obviously, the King's move is very topical right now, given the matches that we've seen in WAL recently. Not only the Michael Todd match versus Devon Lout, but also the Devon Lout v Matt Mask. There were lots of controversial King's move moments, and it's been very interesting. I think that those King's move moments really can polarize the fans of the sports. A lot of people really hate it. A lot of people say, look, deal with it. Look, me personally, I don't think that we can really get rid of the King's move, and I don't think there's any need to get rid of the King's move in the sport. I think there is a time and place for it, but what I think is that the referees and the rules need to be adjusted so that they are better enforced, and subsequently it doesn't look as ugly. Because I'll admit, there are some King's move positions that we'll see that look incredibly ugly, that for somebody who's never seen the sport before, they're going to be looking at that saying, what on earth am I looking at? Why is someone with a virtually straight arm hanging below the table? So I don't. I'm with you that I don't think that the King's move should be that extreme. However, I think the problem lies, like, let's focus on the WAL. I think the problem with the WAL's setup is more so about the pads and the implication, or the execution of those rules from the referee. So, for instance, the pads in a WAL are very round. They go right to the back of the table. So that allows someone like a Michael Todd or a Devon Lout who's trying to do a King's move to really get down to the outside edge of that pad on the inside of their elbow, where we saw like Michael had his tricep on the actual table itself as opposed to on the pad, and that doesn't look good. So the problem I have is that referees do this when somebody is elbow fouling, or is when somebody has their shoulders underneath the table when they shouldn't be. The referees normally just say to them, hey, stand up, stand up. Watch your elbow, watch your elbow. Okay, and arm wrestlers are arm wrestlers. They are always going to push the boundaries, and they're going to ignore referees. They are going to ignore referees because if they don't do that, they're going to lose the match. So it's part of arm wrestling is getting away with more than your opponent can get away with. Okay, so whilst ever referees are going to allow arm wrestlers to just be given a warning, they're going to keep doing it. If all the referees are doing is saying stand up 10 times, then Michael Todd's not going to stand up. Devon Lout's not going to stand up if he's against Matt Musk, whatever. The only way that we're going to get arm wrestlers to stop doing such extreme Kings moves, in my opinion, is for referees to just foul them. So if shoulders below the table, let's use that as an example. If shoulders below the table is an issue and we want to get people like Michael Todd to stop going so low, then simply foul them. No warnings. The instant his shoulders drop below the table when it's in a neutral or a losing position, just say foul. And if he stays down there, give him the 3 count. 1 foul, 2 foul, 3 fouls, winner. Just do that. That will put the onus back on the arm wrestlers to actually make sure that they stick to the rules. And we can then shape the way the sport appears. Because I agree, certainly, if you look at the King's move and you look at it from the perspective of somebody who's never seen the sport before, it is confusing. It looks weird. People say, hang on, that's not arm wrestling. There's a lot of negativity that comes from people who haven't seen the sport before when the King's move appears that extreme. So that's kind of my opinion on the King's move and whether it's holding back becoming mainstream. I don't think it will hold it back. I think ultimately fans just need to learn that it is part of the sport, and referees need to police it a lot better. There we go. Sean Graham, what else we got on the Devon and Mike? Todd looked like major elbow fouls and Todd, but never called out. Yeah, there were major fouls from both. I saw Devon off the front of the pad. I saw Michael off the side of the pad. It all comes back to the fact that the referees just need to police this matches better, and then we'll all be good. What else we got? Do you think Devon will still defeat Dennis from Dang Joss? Yes, I do. I think Devon will defeat Dennis. I think that Dennis has a lot of power. I think that there will be victories to Dennis at some stage, but I think that when Devon does what Devon does, i.e. gets a stop, he has so many more angles, he has so many more ways that he can put a bleed on his opponent. And I do think that over a 6-round PAL vendetta style super match, that Devon will get the necessary stop. I don't see Denis Saplenkov pulling straight through him. I don't think that anyone. I think Michael Todd is the only person on the planet who can make Devon run out of gas. I don't think that, even though Saplenkov has huge endurance and table IQ, I don't think he has enough to out Devon. So, in my opinion, yes, I am still definitely voting on Devon Lout to defeat Denis Saplenkov in November. Alrighty. I'm just waiting for ladder matches. TJ Bennett. Yep, ladder matches would be good. Ladder matches like WWF, I'm getting it. But yeah. Yeah, what else have we got? Reading through the comments here. Anthony, is Freedom Arm Wrestling going to introduce to the sport yet? Saying Michael Todd King's move is the future. Freedom Arm Wrestling, that's one that I'm definitely putting in the back pocket. I'm not a fan of it. Anyway, let's leave Freedom Arm Wrestling to the Cowboys in Canada. I think that from the US Cowboy, I think there will be some new blood coming into arm wrestling scene with some big upsets in 2019. What are your thoughts? Absolutely. US Cowboy, like when I put together a top 10 list the other day in my own head, Michael Todd actually asked me who are my top 10 if I was to put a snapshot right now. And you know, I think that there are a lot of people coming up that will rattle the cages of the traditional top 10s, and I think that that's a great thing. I think that the bigger the sport becomes, and naturally the wider the foundations are of the sport, the more champions are going to start rising up to the top. Now, it takes at least 5 years for a champion to kind of go from a beginner to even knocking on the door of the truly level elite. The sport is mature enough now that you can't be a world champion in your first 3 to 5 years. I mean, there was like people like John Brzenk, obviously different. People like Dave Chafee, he did it in 5 years. But the bigger this sport grows, the harder it's going to be to get there. Everyone's taking more seriously. There's bigger prize money involved. So everyone is being the best they can. They're studying the sport more. They're training more. They're becoming more efficient arm wrestlers. So I think that there are definitely up and coming people that will be in the sport. There's people out of Eastern Europe, people out of Turkey, people out of Georgia, Kazakhstan that are just ferocious arm wrestlers that really aren't well known at all. And those guys, I have no doubt, are just as hungry as anyone, and they want to be world beaters. And it all depends on which league they're going to pull in. If they're going to pull in the WAF league, they won't get as much recognition in North America, obviously. But if they start jumping across to the WAL or even in this league that I'm going to be going around the world with Armed Fights Unleashed and trying to give a spotlight to pullers that haven't necessarily had the spotlight before. But yeah, the good thing is, and I heard Devon say this the other day, that Devon is saying he's having to constantly reinvent himself to try to keep up with all the people that are rising to the top. So there's a lot of things going on in the sport, and new people into the sport is definitely one of them. So thank you for that question and comment. Wives need to be a minimum of 5 rows back. Yeah, Jody was almost touching Michael Todd on the shoulder. I could see her arms coming into it a few times. Da, 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 da. What else we got? I hope Travis left is still as strong as it used to be. Look, I saw Travis only a few weeks ago. Sorry, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and he was 280 pounds and looking ferocious. So I think Travis is in good shape. Well, I'll be seeing Travis again in a couple of days, so I'll let you know. What's your take on the live audience? The live audience of WAL, yes, oh my goodness, paid actors. It is kind of painful to watch from the perspective of an arm wrestler when you see people cheering at awful moments and confused looks on their faces, and obviously people like Luke Kint getting in arguments with the people in the crowd. It's not good. It's not good in that respect. And hopefully in time there will be just enough genuine fans wanting to turn up. But it's kind of funny, isn't it? I'm not a fan of it entirely, but I understand why it's being done. Steve Kaplan, the WAL, it is all about making your event look as professional as it possibly can be so that more people are willing to come to the sport. That pack mentality, that follow the sheep mentality when it comes to fans, okay, we need to give the perception that the sport is big and growing and successful, and that's part of it. That's no doubt the reason why that crowd is there. But look, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I think the crowd is getting better at understanding the sport, and yeah. But it'd be nice to see just a bunch of arm wrestlers fill those spots as opposed to paid actors. But I guess Steve Kaplan and the WAL can't rely on enough arm wrestlers turning up for that. So yeah. What else we got? Da, 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 da. What's up with the live fans that were stage right? Yep, just answered that one. Sorry, just connected. What is your answer about Devon beating Dennis? Oh, you'll have to go watch that one again. Sorry, hanger. From Pikachu, Todd is not worthy to have his name on the hammer. I understand that. Look, to touch on Michael Todd again, I just finished an interview with Michael Todd this morning, so you guys will get to see that interview as part of the season finale show that will be out not too long. But Michael Todd is a badass. Let me just put that out there, that if anyone doesn't think that Michael Todd is worthy of having his name on a hammer or being crowned or a WAL world champion or whatever, I honestly think that he he's not as bad as you think. He uses a style that disagrees the most, but he is staying within the rules. If you watch him when he arm wrestles over in the PAL, which is strict WAF rules, he sticks to the rules. He doesn't break anything. He, just like anyone else, pushes the boundaries on how close he can go to the edge of the rules. Devon Lout, I would say, pushes more boundaries than Michael Todd. He just pushes them in different ways. He carves in at the center. He gets height. He goes early. All those other things. And look, he'll do the King's move just as bad. Like, his match against Matt Mask was horrendous. It should have been 2-1 to Matt Mask, but he got away with a god-awful King's move. But anyway, Michael Todd, I think, look, you got to give him some slack. I think that he is not only a badass arm wrestler, and I think that what we saw from Devon Lout, there was utter respect for him. Devon Lout knew what he was getting into against Michael Todd, and Michael Todd, although he is using a move that a lot of people don't like the image of, it's within the rules, and it's there as an option for every single other arm wrestler out there to use as well. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I have to be defending. I'm going to be in the corner of Michael Todd on that one. Devon vs. Dennis is very different. Last round, multiple fouls, Todd, but never called out. Shows the refereeing sucks. I do agree the refereeing needs to be significantly improved. How do you get a strong top roll like Taras Evakin? Oh, there, Joe. Oh, we've got a technical question going on. Look, mate, the question, pretty easy answer. Taras Evakin is a posting and pronation heavy top roller. He's one of those arm wrestlers that have just gone all in on one move. So get a strap over your knuckles, get a strap around your thumb, get on a cable machine, and just pull that damn cable across to your shoulder and get as strong as you can on that angle there. That's Taras Evakin. But yeah, he is a beast, Taras Evakin, when it comes to top roll. Most of the fans at WAL are probably fake, but certainly not all of them. Yep, I agree. John Hawks, you had it 3-2 for Devon, parallel pin at the beginning of the final round. Yeah, it was incredibly close. That fifth round, very, very close to pins. I haven't looked at it under the slow motion replay, but it could have easily gone Devon's way. I like arm wrestling and I learn English. I was lucky when I found your channel. Thank you. I can't even read your name. It's in Russian or something, but thank you very much for the comment. Luna Croft. What about a match between Chafee and Larratt next year? What would your prediction be for that match if it happened in a best of 6? Luna Craft, thank you. That is a good question. We saw Dave Chafee, of course, absolutely just comfortably pull through someone of Krasimir Kostadinov's caliber. And Krasimir Kostadinov is a multiple WAF world champion at the 100 kilo category. So he is very, very strong. And he was saying prior to that match when we interviewed him just a few weeks ago that he is in the best shape that he's ever been. So for Dave Chafee, just simply just go catch, pin, catch, pin, catch, pin. Very, very impressive stuff. So how would Devon Lout go against Dave Chafee? It's Dave Chafee's angle is like this weird strong angle. He doesn't arm wrestle like everyone else. He's not going into a deep hook. He's not rolling your hand. He's just kind of just a semi top roll, semi pressure on the back of on the top of his wrist as he just drives. He can be slightly in a hook when he catches and then slightly in a top roll when he finishes. So Dave Chafee is just a powerhouse. When I interviewed Dave Chafee, if you missed it, like a few months ago, there's an interview where I talked with Dave Chafee, and he tells me about his number one training method. Now, in my gym, I have an 8-pound sledgehammer hanging up on the wall over there, and if I hold the 8-pound sledgehammer right at the end, I can't rep it out. I can like barely manage this 8-pound sledgehammer. Dave tells me he trains with a 25-pound sledgehammer, holding it right at the end, and reps it out, and that's his mainstay. So that man's wrist and his pronation through the wrist is so ridiculously strong that honestly don't think that Devon Lout would be able to set the hook that he needs to get the stop. Over 6 rounds, I think Devon would maybe, if anything, have hope to get a stop on the outside. But I think if Devon tries to find a stop inside against Dave Chafee, he would just be pinned. So right now, I'd have to put my money on Dave Chafee should that match absolutely happen. Over 6 rounds, maybe towards the end, Devon Lout might be able to find a stop. So I would say a 4-2 Dave Chafee with Dave winning the first 4 would be my thoughts. A question from Bryce. Thoughts on Dimitrina Petrova? She was amazing. Dimitrina Petrova was absolutely fantastic. That was actually one of the highlights of the WL 406 card for me. Dimitrina in that first round put what's her name? Why am I having a mind blank here? Anyway, Dimitrina Petrova, that first round, she put her opponent in a hook. I mean, I have to apologize to our Swedish counterpart. Why am I having a mind blank? What's the name? Fia Rysek. There I go. My goodness, Fia Rysek. Anyway, so when Dimitrina Petrova put Fia Rysek into a hook, I was so impressed. Dimitrina was like 121 pounds. Fia Rysek was like 150 pounds, 156 or something. So a lot smaller girl and looked so technical. Set such a deep hook that she derailed the angles that that Fia Rysek had, and it was impressive. I was super, super impressed. But then obviously Fia stepped up and hit a little bit more aggressively on the next 2 and got the win. But to me, absolutely, Dimitrina Petrova was one of the most impressive performances of the card, and I think she is amazing. That's what I will say about that. Alrighty, what else we got? Let's have a look. Any last few questions, then I'm going to have to wrap it up. Looking through. What do you think about Devon putting his right leg over the top of the table? Yeah, that's all good. He was doing what he had to do to get his shoulder behind that flop press that he was trying, but he still had his other foot on the table, so it was still legal. No dramas at all on that one. Ryan, do you think we should just put restrictions on the Kings move, like you have to have your chest above? I think that shoulders need to just stay above the table when you're in a neutral or losing position, and it needs to be enforced because it currently isn't being enforced by referees. And if referees were simply to just foul people instantly when their shoulders go below the table, then arm wrestlers would stop doing it. Another question, any tips for bar arm wrestling? What do you think the most effective technique is when you're pulling someone who has no arm wrestling knowledge and you don't have a proper table? Okay, simple question there. Hang at 18. If you're at a bar arm wrestling, simply pull them towards you. Don't go sideways with the pin. Get your knuckles up, bend your wrist, pull them towards you, and they're going to separate from their power. Pretty easy. Yep, mentioned Chafee and Larratt. Tell Brzezinski I said hi, will do. I'll buy you a beer and pizza if you come to Jacksonville. Thank you, Lester. I will keep you to that. And man, there's heaps of questions here. But look, guys, what I'm going to do, man, I've just scrolled down and there are so many questions. What do I think about Luke walking away from the table? Yeah, look, Luke. I mean, I don't like to be negative. I don't like to be negative toward anyone. But the way that Luke Kent behaved in his match was pretty downright atrocious, in my opinion. I thought it was incredibly weak and cowardly the way that he, after the match had already started, he then wanted to say, hey, we haven't flipped for a coin to see which side of the table we're on. He was never there to win. He was there to be desperate and hope. And then the way that he interacted with the crowd was very, very poor form for someone who is a representative of a league that is broadcasting live. That was very, very poor. Because at the end of the day, WAL doesn't want people tuning out because people are acting the way that he did. And then mid-match, take the strap off. Very, very, very poor again. In my opinion, he shouldn't be invited back. Straightforward. Let's have a look. Last question. Have you ever used any captains or crush grippers? And if so, what number can you close? I haven't got captains or crush grippers, but hang on. I've got a gripper. Wait here 1 second. Alrighty, I'm back. So it's not a captain's a crush, but it's a 250. So 2.5 equivalent in the captains of crush. But crushing captains of crush, I don't train it at all. I bought these when I was in my first year of arm wrestling, and I don't think that they're actually that relevant to arm wrestling. But I don't think that they translate. So not quite close. I'm weak today. Let me go again. No, not getting the touch today. But anyway, I can close that when I'm in good form. But I'm not in good form right now, clearly. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for jumping on the live. Again, to reiterate, the main reason for this live was I wanted to give you guys an update as to when the content is going to be coming out and to apologize that I won't get the show out as early as I had hoped to. Reason, so I told you guys in the preview that it was going to be out by Monday. I won't be able to get it out by Monday simply because today when I was recording the show, the finale with the show, a number of things came up and John and I weren't able to get as much time as we needed, and I won't be getting Travis Bajan on the line until tomorrow morning. Plus, then I fly out to Moldova tomorrow at lunchtime. So, when I have finished recording all of the footage, I will be on the plane. I will edit on the plane, and when I land in Moldova, I will most certainly upload it, and the next show will be out. So, guys, thank you so much. I, again, do apologize for not getting out the Season 2 finale as early as I hoped. But it'll be a good one anyway. I did interview Michael Todd this morning. I'll be interviewing Travis Bajan tomorrow. And John and I will give you our opinions on everything that went down at the WAL 406. Guys, thank you so much. I really do love and appreciate every single one of you that come on here and support the show and channel. It means the absolute world to me. It's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see you guys from Moldova, which will be very, very soon. All right, guys. Catch you later.